every soul carries a story, and within the heart of a woman lies a world often hidden from sight. The silent battles of her psychology are not always spoken, yet they shape the course of her life with profound depth. Carl Jung often reminded us that the unseen layers of the mind hold the greatest influence over human behavior, and in women, these inner layers are filled with both pain and extraordinary resilience. A woman may smile, yet behind it may dwell struggles. She never voices battles with self-doubt, the weight of expectations, and the longing to be truly understood. These unspoken truths live in the quiet corners of her psyche, where society rarely looks, but where her real strength is formed. To understand these hidden battles is not just to understand women, but to understand the soul itself. For within their silence rests a lesson for all of us. That strength is often born in places no one sees, and courage is often written in stories no one hears. Today, we step into that silence, not to expose weakness, but to uncover the depth of strength that has always been there. Behind every smile rests a mystery that words cannot always capture. A woman may appear radiant, graceful, and composed, yet within her heart she may be carrying a weight that no one else can see. This hidden weight is not always the result of a single burden, but rather the accumulation of countless expectations, sacrifices, and silent battles woven into her daily existence. She lives in a world that demands her strength while seldom allowing her to show vulnerability. She is expected to give without measure, to love without limits, and to endure without complaint. And so, her smile becomes both a shield and a language, a way of moving through life while hiding the storms that rage within. The hidden struggles she carries are often not dramatic displays of suffering, but quiet aches of the soul. The longing to be truly understood, the fear of not being enough, the struggle between nurturing others and nurturing herself, these form the silent battlefield of her psychology. The smile she offers to the world is not false. It is genuine in its desire to bring light to others. Yet it also conceals the shadows of fatigue, self-doubt, and the pain of being misunderstood. What is remarkable is not that she hides these struggles, but that she continues to move forward with them, carrying them with grace that defies their heaviness. In this unseen dimension of her life, there is both suffering and power. Every hidden wound becomes an opportunity for inner growth. Every unspoken fear a quiet test of resilience. While the world may only see her outward composure, within her spirit she wrestles with questions of identity, belonging, and self-worth. The strength to keep smiling in the face of these battles is not a sign of denial, but of profound inner will. It is the spirit's way of saying that even when life presses down with unbearable force, there is still something within her that refuses to be broken. The hidden struggles carried behind the smile also reveal something deeply universal about the human condition. They remind us that the soul is not defined by what is visible, but by what is unseen. Just as the roots of a tree lie beneath the soil, invisible yet essential, the struggles of a woman's heart nourish the depth of her being. They shape her compassion, her sensitivity, her ability to understand pain in others. These struggles do not diminish her. They refine her, carving strength into her character and wisdom into her spirit. When she carries these struggles silently, it is not because she lacks the courage to speak, but because she has learned that not all truths are meant for the world to hear. Some are carried quietly as sacred lessons, shaping her from within. Others remain unspoken because she knows that words could never fully capture their weight. The smile she wears, therefore, is not a mask of deception, but a symbol of survival, a way of saying that though life may wound, it cannot destroy the inner light that continues to shine through her eyes. Within the heart of every woman dwell unspoken fears that she rarely allows the world to see. These fears are not always loud or obvious. They often whisper in the quiet moments of her life. They arise in the stillness of night when doubts creep in, when the questions of worth and belonging stir within her mind. She may wonder if she is enough for those she loves, if her sacrifices are truly seen, if her dreams will ever be given the space to breathe. These fears take root not because of weakness, but because of her deep sensitivity to life, her ability to feel and to care with extraordinary intensity. Yet alongside these unspoken fears lies a strength so profound it cannot be measured by ordinary standards. It is not the kind of strength that boasts or declares itself openly. Rather, it is the strength that silently endures, that continues to move forward even when the weight of expectation and responsibility feels unbearable. This strength is woven into the very fabric of her being, revealed in her capacity to love even when she is tired, to forgive even when she has been wounded, and to hope even when circumstances appear hopeless. The paradox of her heart is that her greatest vulnerabilities are often the source of her greatest power. What she fears most deeply can also be what fuels her determination to rise. Fear of failure can become the spark that drives her to succeed. Fear of being unseen can awaken her ability to shine in her uniqueness. Fear of being unloved can deepen her understanding of unconditional love. In this tension between fear and strength, her inner world becomes a place of transformation. What others perceive as fragility is often the very soil where resilience grows. Her silent strengths are not always recognized by those around her, for they are expressed in subtle ways. They are seen in the patience she extends when no one is watching, in the sacrifices she makes without needing applause, in the courage she shows by simply carrying on when her spirit feels weary. They are the quiet acts that rarely make headlines but change lives in immeasurable ways. These strengths do not demand recognition because they arise not from ego, but from the depth of her heart. The unspoken fears of a woman's heart are real, but they do not define her. What defines her is the way she chooses to live with them, the way she transforms them into compassion, creativity, and courage. Her fears remind her of her humanity, while her silent strengths reveal her divinity. This delicate balance between the two makes her journey both complex and beautiful. For within her heart lies a hidden sanctuary where fear and strength coexist, shaping her into someone who can face life's storms with quiet dignity and rise again with a spirit that refuses to be broken. There comes a moment in every life when the weight of self-doubt begins to feel like chains wrapped tightly around the soul. These chains are not visible to the eye, yet they shape the way one walks through the world. They whisper quietly that one is not capable, not worthy, not enough. For many women, these doubts are born from years of unspoken comparisons, from expectations placed upon them, from a society that too often measures value by roles fulfilled rather than by the depth of being. Emotional silence grows alongside this doubt, for when the heart is questioned and the voice is dismissed, one learns to retreat into quiet, keeping truths locked away where no one else can touch them. Yet the soul is not meant to live bound in this way. Within every woman lies a deep knowing that her worth is not defined by outside voices, but by the quiet power she carries within. Breaking the chains of self-doubt is not a sudden act of rebellion. It is a gradual awakening, a realization that the voice inside is stronger than the noise surrounding her. It begins when she dares to believe that her perspective matters, that her dreams deserve to exist, and that her heart has a right to be heard. With every small act of courage speaking a truth, taking a step forward, refusing to apologize for existing, the chains begin to loosen. Emotional silence, too, can feel like a prison, yet it is often maintained out of fear of judgment or rejection. A woman may learn to hold her pain inside, believing that her strength lies in bearing it alone. But real strength is not silence. It is the courage to give voice to what has long been hidden. When she allows herself to speak, she discovers that her voice not only liberates her, but also creates space for others to do the same. What was once isolation becomes connection, and what was once shame transforms into empowerment. This breaking free is not without struggle. The chains of self-doubt resist release, for they have been built over years of inner conflict and external pressure. But within every woman's heart is a resilience that refuses to be silenced forever. It pushes against the weight of fear until cracks begin to appear, letting in the light of self-belief. Each moment of defiance against doubt becomes a declaration that her life belongs to her, not to the limitations imposed upon her. To live beyond self-doubt and silence is to live in authenticity. It is to stand firmly in the truth of one's being, unafraid of imperfection, unashamed of vulnerability. It is to embrace the fullness of life, both its shadows and its light, with the knowledge that every step forward is an act of freedom. The chains may once have defined her, but they do not have the power to hold her forever. For within her is a force greater than any doubt, a voice stronger than any silence, and a spirit that longs to rise beyond every restraint. Resilience is not born in comfort, but in the silent depths of struggle where no one is watching. Pain, when carried quietly, shapes the inner landscape of the soul in ways that cannot be seen from the outside. A woman may walk with grace, smile with warmth, and speak with gentleness, while within her there are wounds that life has carved through disappointment, loss, and sacrifice. These wounds are not always visible, but they live in the hidden chambers of her heart. Yet it is precisely here, in the silent places of suffering, that the roots of resilience begin to grow. Pain, though often feared, holds within it the possibility of transformation. When endured in silence, it does not simply break the spirit. It presses the soul to search deeper for meaning, for strength, for renewal. The woman who has known silent pain learns to draw from an inner well that others may never see. Her resilience is not the absence of hurt, but the ability to rise with that hurt and continue forward. Each scar becomes a reminder not of defeat, but of survival. Each hardship transforms into a hidden teacher, shaping her into someone who carries wisdom not found in easy living. Resilience is not loud. It rarely demands attention or recognition. It is the quiet determination to wake up after sleepless nights, to keep nurturing when one feels empty, to stand again after being knocked down by life's trials. It is the decision to keep loving even after heartbreak, to keep hoping even when hope feels fragile. In these choices, strength is born not as an external show of power, but as a silent, enduring flame that refuses to be extinguished. The power of resilience lies also in its ability to transform pain into compassion. A woman who has endured silent suffering often develops the ability to understand the unspoken struggles of others. Her heart becomes more open, her empathy more profound, because she has walked through the shadows herself. This does not make her weak. It makes her deeply human and profoundly connected to life. What once was pain becomes the source of her ability to lift others, to comfort, to inspire. Silent pain, when carried with courage, becomes a foundation of unshakable strength. It builds endurance not only for oneself, but for those who draw from her example. Others may never know the battles she has faced, but they see the resilience in her presence, in her ability to keep moving forward with dignity. Her strength is not born of privilege or ease, but of struggle and persistence. And this strength, quiet though it may be, becomes a force that transforms her life and touches the lives of those around her, proving that even in the most silent places of pain, there exists the possibility of renewal and an unbreakable spirit that continues to rise. There are battles that lie in silence, carried within the heart where no one else can see. These are the struggles a woman often bears alone, the quiet sacrifices, the unspoken fears, the weight of expectations that she has learned to carry without complaint. Silence becomes her companion, not because she has nothing to say, but because she has been conditioned to believe that her pain should not disturb the world around her. In this silence, however, lies both suffering and power. It is the place where she learns to endure, to adapt, and to survive, even when her heart longs to be heard. But silence, though protective, can also become a prison. When battles remain unspoken, they grow heavier, and the soul begins to forget the sound of its own truth. There comes a turning point when the weight of what is unexpressed can no longer be contained, when the inner voice demands release. To give voice to these unheard battles is not an act of weakness, but of profound strength. Speaking truth to pain transforms it, allowing what once was hidden to become a source of light. The moment she begins to share her story, she realizes that she is not alone, and that her voice carries the power to heal both herself and others. Strength is not only measured by endurance, but by the courage to reveal what has long been concealed. When a woman gives voice to her silent struggles, she reclaims the power that was once buried under layers of fear and doubt. She no longer carries her battles in isolation, but invites understanding, compassion, and connection. In voicing her truth, she shows others that vulnerability is not a sign of fragility, but of authenticity. The act of speaking becomes a form of liberation, a breaking of chains that once bound her spirit in silence. The transformation from silence to strength is a journey of reclaiming identity. It is the recognition that her voice matters, that her experiences carry meaning, and that her battles are worthy of being acknowledged. Each word spoken from the heart becomes a step toward freedom. Each truth expressed becomes a seed of resilience. The very struggles that once silenced her now become the foundation of her power, shaping a voice that resonates with courage and wisdom. When she chooses to speak, she does more than free herself. She becomes a beacon for others still trapped in their own silence. Her voice carries the message that it is possible to rise, to transform hidden battles into strength, to turn unspoken pain into a testimony of survival. In this way, silence is no longer the end of her story, but the beginning of her empowerment. For in giving voice to what was once unheard, she awakens the deeper truth that her strength was never lost, it was waiting to be spoken into life. Every journey of the heart is marked by struggles, both seen and unseen. The silent battles that women endure are not signs of weakness, but testimonies of remarkable strength. They carry fears, doubts, and unspoken pain, yet within those very struggles lies the seed of resilience and transformation. What remains hidden does not diminish their power. Rather, it refines it. Their smiles may conceal storms, but those storms shape a depth of character that nothing else can create. The true beauty of these battles is not only in surviving them, but in rising stronger because of them. When silence turns into voice, when fear becomes courage, when pain transforms into wisdom, a woman steps fully into her strength. Her life becomes a message, her endurance a source of inspiration, and her voice a light for others still walking through darkness. In honoring these silent struggles, we learn that every challenge carries within it the possibility of growth, every wound the possibility of healing, and every silence the possibility of strength. The journey of the soul is not to escape the battles, but to transform them into the foundation of unshakable resilience and unyielding courage.